You're listening to Learn as You Parent, the podcast that gets real about raising kids. Because let's face it, parenting doesn't come with a manual. I'm your host, Sarah Beth. Let's dive in. Today, we're talking about the Summer Survival Series with our pediatrician, Dr. Ann Cates.
Hi.
And this is a multi-part series. We are excited to bring this to parents. Remember to like and subscribe, all the things. Make sure to comment. We're looking for ideas for new content. So
Tell us what you want to hear.
Tell us what you want to hear. And right now, what I want to hear about is swimmer's ear.
That
for the
is
Summer
a good
Survival Series, because
Very
I have
common.
2 children.
Yep.
And both of them have had ear tubes.
Yep.
Multiple ear tubes for one of them. And I am especially interested, but I have also gotten a lot of questions from our viewers about swimmer's ear. And I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for coming on to talk to us about it.
Absolutely.
So, tell us, what is it?
Okay.
What's swimmer's ear? And should we be worried about it?
So I think a good place to start is that when we talk about ear infections, there are different kinds of ear infections. Okay, so typically, I think most of the time when someone says ear infection, what they're referring to is otitis media, which is when you have infected fluid behind the eardrum. So when we look in there with our otoscope, we can see the eardrum, and then this fluid is like sitting behind it, and it's infected fluid. It's pus, basically. But yes, exactly. I mean,
I'm so not a doctor.
You're going to get words like pus sometimes. It's going to happen. So the infection is all contained within the middle ear space behind the eardrum or the tympanic membrane. The ear canal itself is fine. There's no infection in the ear canal. It's all behind the eardrum. That's why tubes help the way that they do, because then they provide an opening in the eardrum for fluid to be able to come out and pressure to equalize. So actually, swimmer's ear is the other type of ear infection. So the fancy name for it is otitis externa, or external ear infection. And it is actually an infection of the skin of the ear canal itself. So if I'm examining a kid that has swimmer's ear, when I look in there with my otoscope, I may not even be able to see their eardrum, whereas I normally could if they didn't have an infection going on. Because when you have swimmer's ear or otitis externa, the skin of the ear canal is infected. It gets red. It gets swollen. It can even have, like oozing, like gunk on it. You can have drainage coming out.
More pus?
More pus.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. So yeah, sometimes I can't even see the eardrum because there's so much swelling inside the ear canal. And it tends to be very, very tender, very painful. So if I have a kid who has ear pain, and even if I just wiggle their ear a little bit, sometimes that hurts really bad when you have swimmer's ear. So, 2 different kinds of ear infections, and swimmer's ear or otitis externa is the type of infection that is associated with getting water in your ears. So, otitis media, the other kind, that really doesn't have anything to do with getting water in your ears. That's more to do with recurrent episodes of like congestion and soft tissue swelling in the back of your nose, throat area that blocks off the eustachian tube, and then you get your middle ear infection. So swimmer's ear is otitis externa, infection of the skin of the ear canal, and it tends to occur when you get moisture in your ears, water in your ears, and that moisture just kind of sits there. That kind of sets you up for the infection.
Okay. Well, how fast can you get that?
Pretty quickly. I mean, it doesn't tend to just hit out of the blue. I would say there is a little bit of a gradual lead up before it gets really, really bad. And so you can kind of intervene before it gets, to the point of just excruciating pain. One good thing to think about is actually like prevention, because you can do some things to help prevent it from happening.
Okay.
So, getting the moisture out of your ears is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go clean the moisture out of your kids' ears with a Q-tip every time they swim or anything like that. Because if you do that, you'll probably just shove some wax further in there, and then we'll have to clean their ears out, and it's just a whole big thing. So still no Q-tips, but you can use swimmer's ear drops to help prevent that infection from happening. So those you can buy over the counter. There's the brand that's literally called Swimmer's Ear. And a lot of folks think that that is meant to treat swimmer's ear, but it's actually not meant to treat it. It's meant to prevent it from getting to the point of needing to be treated.
So it's like pre-swimmer's ear.
Yeah,
It should be called.
Yes, exactly. Or like anti-swimmer's ear, swimmer's ear. Yeah. So you can buy that over the counter and just put a few drops in on each side after your kid gets done swimming.
How old for the kid?
Really, you can use it at any age. Just, anytime that they're getting submerged, like if they're going underwater and completely underwater, then that's when they're kind of at higher risk for developing swimmer's ear. It usually, it can happen from like just a little splash in the bathtub, but it's more common when they're actually underwater swimming. So yeah, put a few drops in there. That helps to kind of dry out the water that's in there. You can also make your own at home. You can make homemade swimmer's ear drops. It's a lot cheaper because you can make a ton of it. So you get white distilled vinegar and then rubbing alcohol, and you mix them in equal amounts, and there you go. That's it. So the alcohol is
cheap.
And that is cheap, super cheap. Yeah. The alcohol helps to dry out the inside of the ear, and then the vinegar actually acts as like a natural antiseptic. So it kind of helps, with like bacteria and fungal things that can be living in there. And yeah, so you can make a ton of that for really cheap.
You just have to get an eardropper?
Yeah, you can get, or a little syringe even that you can just, slowly push and just, get little drops out.
Oh, wow.
Or a little, like squeezy dropper thing.
Would you recommend that just prevention for almost any kid?
Yeah. It's not going to hurt anything. Exactly. It's safe. It's easy. Yeah. And hopefully we'll ward off the swimmer's ear.
And so we talked a little bit about ear infection, otitis media.
Right.
If you have otitis media, just the regular ear infection that you already are on antibiotics for, can you swim? You can, but you need to be on like day 3 of the antibiotics or day 2 or what?
Not necessarily. Now, this is assuming that you don't have tubes already.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So if you don't have tubes, that means you still have a completely intact eardrum, and that eardrum is protecting your middle ear space from anything that gets in your ear. Okay, in your ear canal, in the area that's on this side of the eardrum. So, but if you have tubes, then that eardrum is no longer intact. You have a hole basically that's being held open by the tube. So anything that gets in your ear canal can then get into your middle ear space. So that's why for any of you who have kids with tubes, your ENT doctor likely talk to you about, earplugs so that they don't get the water in their ears. But going back, if they don't have tubes, they already have a middle ear infection and otitis media, and they're taking antibiotics, they can swim. Getting water in their ears is not going to worsen the otitis media. The only thing I can think of that would potentially cause problems is the fact that if they were to go underwater and go deep down to the point that they feel the pressure on their ears, it's going to hurt more if they have an ear infection already. So maybe just staying at the surface is a better idea just to prevent that, pain from happening. But,
and they can still have the vinegar and the swimmer's ear solution.
Yes. And another caveat, if your kid has tubes, don't put any kind of drop in your kid's ear unless it's cleared by your ENT.
Oh.
Yeah. Because again, your eardrum is no longer a barrier. It's got a hole in it. And so we don't want anything going into your ear that is not okay for your middle ear as well, because it's going to make it in there probably. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have tubes and they fell out, then what?
It depends on if your eardrum has healed up yet, which we can look at and tell you. But yeah, it's better to err on the side of caution if you're not sure. Right. Yeah.
Lots of little caveats and nuances to tubes is what I'm hearing right now.
Yes.
And speaking of tubes, I have another question. This also came in from one of our viewers. And let's assume you have ear tubes and you go to the lake or the ocean. You know you're not supposed to get submerged. That's usually on the paperwork.
Smacks you and it happens.
It does happen. What do you do as a parent?
Yeah. So, don't panic, first off. It's possible that nothing bad is going to happen at all. But, does your ENT give you drops to keep, like antibiotic drops to keep at home and you were supposed to start them if you had any drainage coming out? Right. It would probably be a good idea to check in with your ENT and just let them know that it happened. So in case especially if it's like like nature water, if it's ocean water or lake water or river water or whatever, just because we know there are microorganisms that live in that water compared to like a chlorinated pool or a saltwater pool.
Okay.
Check in with them to let them know that, and make sure they don't want you to do anything differently. But I would probably just go ahead and put some of those antibiotic eardrops that they gave you to have on hand in case of drainage. I would put some of those in there while you're waiting to hear back from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about earplugs.
Yeah.
So you said that earplugs, when you have tubes, is a good thing.
Yeah. For the fact that it just prevents the water from getting into your ear.
And if you don't have any tubes, nothing, is it just more like comfort for the kid if they, or?
Yeah, it would be a comfort thing at that point.
Okay.
If the kid just, has like a little sensory thing and doesn't like having the water get in their ears, then you could use it for that reason. But it's only when they have tubes that it's more of a safety concern.
Okay. So my daughter says that she's 4 and we call her Zaza. She says that sometimes her ear, only one of her ears, she'll point to it and she'll say, "This ear hurts," and it's after swimming.
Okay.
So I think that sounds like I just need I think both of the ear tubes have fallen out and it's been over a year.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that would probably be something that maybe it's not really an ear infection.
Right. It's possible. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe, if you know that tubes are out and the eardrum has healed, then you could do some of those swimmer's ear drops that we mentioned to hopefully head off any little, brewing infection or brewing swimmer's ear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all about swimmer's ear. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to comment on our video and look forward to seeing you back at another Summer Survival Series episode.
Let us know what you want to hear next time.